Making choice involves deciding what to do, getting information, and weighing your options. This process is known as choice making. You can make more careful, intelligent selections by defining alternatives and arranging pertinent information through a step-by-step procedure for selecting choices. We must strike a balance between the seemingly incompatible powers of passion and reason in order to make wise decisions. We need to be able to foresee the future, recognize the circumstances as they are, understand other people's thoughts, and cope with uncertainty. The decisions we make in life that shape our destiny and define our course are known as choices. Decisions can be made regarding our professional path, the people we choose to date, how we allocate our finances, and the principles and ideals we choose to live by. You can't merely live by the decisions you've already made if you want to improve any aspect of your life. You have to make new ones. After making a decision, we act without giving it any thought. As an illustration, consider this. How many times must someone be late for you to decide to consider them late? Unknowingly, we react to the decision we make, rather than the data we observe once we have made the choice. So, when they arrive on schedule, someone becomes cynical. What? Did you break your watch? Because of the strength of our decision, we automatically continue to believe that they are late even when we see them on time. We are capable of doing that with our loved ones, our friends, our co-workers, our finances, strangers, adventure, trying new foods, and ourselves. Our lives are shaped by the decisions we make. Examine the decisions you've taken, to which you are now responding, and consider whether you would want a different outcome. Instead of constantly being angry, disappointed, doubting yourself, or making a lot of effort to appear confident, consider your options and decide to live a different life. Bad decision-making, or choosing without fully understanding the implications of one's actions. Making wise decisions is one of the most crucial abilities we can have, even though some of us were never taught how to do so. Making a decision can be challenging at times, since there seems to be an unseen tug-of-war between accepting one offer and rejecting another. We may feel overpowered when we are mired in an internal struggle about the course of action to take. This could prevent us from taking the necessary action. Even in our indecision, when we give in to indecision, we are still making a decision. The primary problem with choosing is that we fundamentally understand we can't have it all. It's an unachievable ambition, and believing we can have it all only makes us more anxious and stressed. Believing that we can achieve our desires is a painful way of looking at the world. In actuality, we can have anything we desire, we just can't have everything we want. And therein lays the challenge of always having a choice. Making snap decisions or acting on our emotions might lead to a life filled with suffering. We cannot go through life believing that achieving our desires will also result in a profoundly fulfilling experience. Everybody has a story of having to deal with unpleasant outcomes that they had not wanted or expected. The decisions we've made up to this point in our lives, as well as the choices others have made for themselves, make up our experience of life today, this day, right? Suffer the consequences of other people's choices as well. This is the suffering and flaw inherent in being human. Although we have the freedom to choose, the repercussions of our decisions do not free us. Our life experience, health, happiness, peace, weight, education, career, success, etc., is determined by our choices. Even indecision, like we mentioned, is a decision. How do we make the best choice at the moment? Refrain from putting trust in wants or desires. Wanting something doesn't mean it's good for us. Kids want candy for breakfast, and we might want a soda instead of water. But wants to do not equal supporting our highest. Knowing what we value most and knowing what our top priorities are will bring us to our best answers. Some tips on making a better choice. Choose based on the consequences. Look at the possible outcomes and work backward. Do you like what you see? Avoid seeking perfection in the choice itself. Instead, look for the perfection of a goal in the inevitable consequences of your decision. You're not perfect, and neither is anything else in this world. So why do we seek perfection in the choices we make? How often do we get caught up in fear or overwhelmed because we are afraid of an imperfect decision? Be clear about your purpose, your values, and your priorities, and you'll find greater clarity around what to choose that will draw you closer to what you hold dearest. Remember to avoid inaction through overanalysis. Ever heard of paralysis by analysis? While it makes a lot of sense to look at the numbers and make informed decisions, getting stuck in the minutiae of the details can lead to a lot of time wasted in the decision-making process. Oftentimes, our research and analysis is cleverly disguised as procrastination. If you're caught in doing your due diligence, make sure you don't stay there just so you don't have to make a choice. Procrastination is a choice as well. Make a decision based on what is constant rather than on ephemeral feelings, wishes, or desires. Look deeper, to a source you may trust more, your intuition. That still small voice that makes you uncomfortable when your wants and desires start pitching temper tantrums because they want something. One sure indicator that your emotions are taking over is if you're asking for acceptance or permission from others. If you're looking outside of yourself for direction, you're not trusting yourself, and possibly it's because you're not listening to the wise self, or you don't want to listen to the no answer your gut is giving you. Desire argues with you. Wants are averse to delayed gratification. The truth is, if you're in alignment with your own integrity, your choices become easier and you won't need to seek out what other people think, because you will already be resolved to doing what you know to be your best decision for your own integrity. Recognize and accept that decisions always have consequences. Allow for considerable leeway in your calculations. Errors are a natural part of being human. I prefer to believe that I am a spiritual being going through a human phase. This indicates that I'm experiencing imperfection. It is just as vital to provide forgiveness to others as it is to ourselves. Redemption occurs when we apply empathy to the human predicament and acknowledge that we are all always learning. Examine the circumstances in depth. Decisions frequently backfire because important details are overlooked or disregarded right away. Therefore, you must have a complete understanding of your circumstance before you can start to make decisions. Begin by evaluating the choice in light of the issue it is meant to solve. You must ascertain whether the problem at hand is the actual one or only a sign of something more serious. Look past what is readily apparent. Although your goal might be approached independently, it's more likely that there are several interconnected elements to take into account. For instance, adjustments made in one department may have unintended consequences in other areas, rendering the change ineffective. Examine your choices. Once you are confident that you have a good range of workable options, it's essential to assess each one's viability, dangers, and repercussions. There is some risk involved in almost every decision. For the purpose of identifying threats, estimating the likelihood that unfavorable events will occur, and projecting potential management costs, you'll need a systematic method. It is advisable to assess the ethical implications of every choice and consider how it aligns with your personal and organizational principles. Review your strategy. It can be tempting to move forward at this point after putting in so much time and energy analyzing and choosing options. However, this is the moment more than ever to sense-check your choice. It's true that looking backwards can help us understand why things went wrong, but it's always preferable to avoid mistakes in the first place. Make sure you have been thorough and that typical mistakes haven't slipped into the process by giving your decision a lengthy, objective look before you begin putting it into action. The quality of your final conclusion depends on the information and analysis you incorporated into it. Make sure you've done your best not to cherry-pick data, and that the information you have is reliable. By doing this, you can steer clear of confirmation bias, a typical psychological prejudice that affects judgment. Talk about your preliminary findings with key stakeholders so they may identify any problems, offer suggestions, and lend support to your findings. Additionally, pay attention to your own intuition. Carefully and silently verify conclusions and presumptions against your personal experience. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and share. Subscribe to the channel and other to get more interesting videos.